Is it magic? You ready, monkey? And push the button. Here we go. Button push. Boop. It is a button. And now, I push the button again, and it won't turn on, supposedly. Fingers crossed. All right, everybody. Welcome to Houston. We have a problem. It's Friday. It is show 85. It is December 17th, 2021. And what has happened? Well, the biggest news is probably JP Morgan, one of their analysts coming out and saying a short squeeze is pretty much inevitable. Expect it end of the year through January. Big things are coming. The other news is 6 months ago, someone said Ryan Cohen's just going to tweet a poop emoji, and that's going to be the signal of the MOAS. And today, Ryan Cohen tweeted a poop emoji. So that's where we're sitting. That's where we are sitting. Oh, I forgot. I also received this wonderful jar that I can drink out of. It's a little tiny. It will last about an hour's worth on the show. But it's got a little straw. It's got a little cap. And it tells me to turn off my intro. So hopefully I heed that advice. And you folks will never know the joy of me doing a second intro over again. And a viewer sent me this awesome little stream deck. So I can push buttons. Watch this. I can push this button, go to scene, and then I can turn on Google Earth, or I can turn Google Earth on, turn on Chrome, or I can turn that off. I can go to MS Paint. Yeah. How sexy is that? Boop. Back to Big Houston. I also go to my Zoom call. Oops. I can go to Zoom call. There we go. And I can turn the intro on Zoom. I think. Did that work? There we go. I'll turn that off. All right. And I go back to Big Houston. See? It's magic. I feel like I'm in a television studio. I'm telling them to go to camera 1, camera 2. Other news is I have 2 new webcams coming. A real fancy pants one for me, and then an okay one that will focus on Monkey Butt. And so Monkey Butt will be sleeping over here on the ottoman, and there'll be a second camera like focused on her, and I'll probably, put her in the corner of the screen, maybe like there. Put a little Monkey Butt so you guys can see Monkey Butt at all times and what she's up to, which is usually being absolutely miserably bored and taking a nap while I do these shows. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go to the boards and see what's up with everybody, because I think I talked about all my news here. William Morgan, CNBC just quoted JP Morgan. There you go, right off the bat. And your aunt just died. I'm sorry. I had a wonderful lunch with my aunt today. And, yeah, I'm sorry, my man. 7:50 now. Did Bank of America ever complete their bond offering? I have no idea. I mean, because trying to raise $100 billion in bonds is a lot. Especially when, like, 10 months ago, trying to raise $13 billion in bonds, people were like, whoa, slow down. And Citadel trying to raise $600 million in bonds, people were like, that's a lot. You guys should not do that. So, yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are. Brandon T. If China later defaults on their municipal bonds, and those bonds are held by U.S. investment banks, essentially doesn't that mean that China's huge advance in infrastructure was paid for by the U.S.? Yep. That's exactly what that means. It's not like the U.S. can go in there and be like, hey, that train station is ours. I mean, they can try. That's kind of what China is doing with their $1 trillion Silk Road thing, investments they're doing, is that, they're building ports and highways and train tracks and things like that in these developing countries. And if the developing countries default, then China just claims ownership. They just take it. So I wonder if, like, a U.S. bank, how it would go over if a U.S. bank just went in and seized, like, the entire train network of a municipality in China. Been like, this belongs to Goldman Sachs now. I don't think it would work. They can try, but I don't think it would work. Super chat from Citadel. Covered 10% of all our synthetic shorts today. More coming next week. Sure. I'm certain, yeah. And that's exactly how it's happening. All right. But thank you for your $4.99 super chat, Citadel. Ham fingers, a little squeeze before Christmas. My crossed fingers are hoping so. I think that's what we're getting. There was no sound in the intro. What? How come there's no sound? How can there not be sound in the intro? There has to be sound in the intro. Are you guys messing with me? Or just not have your volume on? Pal Guitars, thank you for the super chat there. You can ask a question if you got a question, or just make a fart sound or something. Do whatever you want in there. Irish Cowboy, James Webb launch is now December 24th. Oh, they moved it. It was supposed to be tomorrow. Whenever there was a weather issue and they had to put it off. And Dead Broke Investments. If you have an options contract expires during an extended halt, 30 days or so, how do they handle your situation? Ooh. That's a good question. How would they do that? So let's say they did a halt, and tomorrow, and it's for 30 days, and you have options for the second week of January, right? I honestly don't know. Would options trading stop? If regular trading didn't? They halt both, or just one or the other? That's a good question. I have no answer for you. But I'm sure there's somebody at the SEC pulling their hair out over that exact same quibble. So if you find an answer, let me know. If I find one, I'll let you know. But I have no idea how that would work. Not a clue. Okay. Darb, first half of next week, according to PyFi, is when we're starting to see it go. I hope so, man. Daniel Motes, Houston, if nothing happens price-wise before January for GME, what does that tell us? That they've been able to flatten that curve, and they put off again and again and again and again. So that's they managed to somehow do what they continue to be doing. But there's lots of rule changes coming up this month. We've got a whole bunch of losses that are going to get reported before the end of the year due to these Chinese bonds failing. And I'm not sure that they can avoid that. Once this stuff gets out of their hands, they have no more power. Once a broker is forced to liquidate them, they can't do anything anymore. They're basically Jesus took the wheel, and they're stuck. Pluk or Plutch 87. Can you recap the JP Morgan report? JP Morgan report basically is a simple paragraph that basically says there's a lot of liquidity problems. There's a whole bunch of losses that are going to be recorded due to these Chinese bonds failing. And they expect that there's a prime environment for a short squeeze to occur sometime this month going into January. So those are the big points of that JP Morgan report. Let's see if we can find the full thing on here. JP Morgan short squeeze. Oh, I can't spell. Squeeze. Okay. Street Insider. Okay, I go scene. I turn off Google Earth. I bring up there. There we go. I don't want to be a new. No, don't even log into this crap. You go away. Go away. Seeking Alpha. Here, Seeking Alpha is owned by the monsters. Okay. So Marco Kalinovic, not related to Marcel Kalinovic. So recent calls by the dip. He's an analyst at JP Morgan, and he says that such diversity is unknown to us, indicates historically unprecedented overshoot in selling smaller, more volatile, typically value cyclical stocks in the last 4 weeks. For short selling campaigns to succeed, they have to be positioning liquidity and often systematic amplifiers of the sell-off. He says, we believe these conditions are not met, and hence this market episode may end up in a short squeeze and cyclical rally into year end and January. So that's where he is. That's the big one right there. Yeah, retail resilience will be buying of equities into month and quarter end, he adds. People are going to be buying. And there's still aggressive shorting. In the hope that declines in retail equity position and cryptocurrency holdings, while in fact both of these markets and retail investors have shown resilience in the past. Basically, the buy and hold is defeating them, and they keep trying to do the same trick over and over again by shorting us down. And you know what? They have not been able to short us down to like $4 again. They shorted us down to 138, whatever that low was, 132, somewhere in there. But now we're back up to 157, 160. They can't do it. They don't have enough ammunition to do it. So, one should note that large positions likely need to be closed before the seasonally strong January, which is likely to see small cap value as cyclical rally. And given that market liquidity is dwindling, the impact of closing shorts may be bigger than the impact of opening them when liquidity conditions were better. So basically, cash is drying up. They're screwed. That's what this is saying, this analyst from JP Morgan. Now, we talked about this with Boss Blunt's. JP Morgan left the DTCC and formed their own clearinghouse because they know exactly what's on the horizon. They do not want to be responsible for all those other members of the clearinghouse. And they're like, they probably have enough hedge funds underneath them that are screwed by this that they can't also take on the liability of everyone else that's there. Big Houston. Haha, buttons. Buttons are amazing. Fantastic. I love this. Okay. Meow says, I think Calvinic is implying a hedgy controlled short squeeze. He doesn't realize what's coming. Well, the hedgies will be able to control as much as they can until they can't control it anymore. Once the price gets away from them and the liabilities just amplify, then it's someone else that's going to be doing the buying, not them. So yeah. Okay, let me. Okay, I can do. 1 sec. Go to there. I'll get the poop emoji quote from you. Where is it? There it is. So this is the tweet. Oh, scene. There we go. So this tweet originally was on, I think, Super Stonk. And Ryan Cohen had tweeted a picture of a cushy toilet with like a computer set up. And he said, is this ArcSea ship posting? Next thing you know, he'll pop a poop emoji and he'll kick off MOAS. Well, today he tweeted a poop emoji. So this is from Reddit from 6 months ago or so. And today, Ryan Cohen tweeted a poop emoji. There it is. Bing! There's a little smiley turd right there. So that's it. I should probably retweet that thing because why not? Bing! There we go. So there you go. There's your sign that Ryan Cohen was paying attention to Reddit 6 months ago, and he knows what's up. And they still have yet to announce whatever the NFT doodad stuff that they're planning on. And yeah, that's something's coming. Oh boy. We just gotta wait for it. So there. That's what we got going on. Stonkmom67. Houston, can you find out which font your friend used for your intro? I have about 73,000 to choose from and have gone through about a third of it with no luck. Ooh, I'll 1 sec. You know what? While I'm sitting here, I'm going to message him and ask him. And Bing. What font did you use to make my intro video? There we go. All right. Hopefully we'll find out real soon. Thank you, Stonk Mom. Mr. Pina Colada, I punched the like bottom. Oh. Oh, I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says "I punched the like bottom." Oh, yes! Make sure you punch the like bottom and subscribe, and comment on this video and whatever other weird things that you can do for punch that like bottom. All right, Stonk Mom wants to finish my tumbler, so we gotta get the font. Otherwise, I'm in this little glass that's gonna just be done in like half an hour. I appreciate it. We'll find out. He'll message me back at some point. He's currently directing Nutcracker at the local theater production, so I might not see my message until later tonight. But I'll find out. I'll find out and I'll let you know. Renegade Geniuses. Turkey halts stock trading. Their currency looks like it's going to collapse. Have you seen it? Oh, Turkey's currency going to collapse again? It did that like 10 years ago real bad, which ushered in Erdogan as president was that currency collapse. So let's see how long you last this time around when it collapses. Turkey stock trading halted twice as lira crashes to new low. So 9 hours ago. Bing. So trades all listed. Get out of here. Get out of my way. I don't care. Stocks dropped 7%. That's enough to halt across the board. Down as much as 9.1 within the first 2 minutes. Woo! Okay. All right, so basically Turks are pulling their money from the market. That's a big deal. So we had a big old spike. Ooh, that's bubble spike right there. Holy smokes. So you don't want to see 100% growth across your entire index like that. That is a bad bubble. You do not want that. Yeah. Oof. And then lira, it goes with lira. So the lira is completely devaluing, so it needs more and more and more of them to equal value something. That's rough. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. No. But I had not seen that. Adrian. Hi, Houston. Today I got a random call from Merrill Lynch Wealth Management Advisor. It's kind of weird because I'm broke, but I get good-sized shares. All right. All right. So obviously, I think they know what's up, and they know they're going to have a pile of cash on hand, and they want a piece of it when you got it. That's what they're looking for. They'll manage that account for you for 1% or whatever, 2%. That's probably what you got going on there, Adrian. Is that they're recognizing that the inevitable is happening, and you are going to be one of their premier customers with like some sort of titanium laser engraved card. And when you walk into a bake branch or whatever, they're going to like roll out the red carpet and give you a cigar, and the cute teller's going to give you her phone number, stuff like that. Cameron Mirza, Super Chats. We have hit the media. CNBC says there is a short squeeze. It's going to happen eventually, right? Try to put off as long as possible, and now they're seeing what side of their bread is buttered. And they're like, well, Citadel can't buy us off anymore because the check bounced. That's probably what happened. Pal Guitars. Why isn't GME on the list of the most shorted stocks? I don't know. It should be. I mean, we saw that short interest went over 100% last month, and there's no way that they've closed enough to drop that again, unless they're just resetting all those FTDs once more. Josh, Pet Pals, Tennessee. I made it! Happy birthday, you beautiful bastard. Welcome back, Josh. I know you were busy for the last little while. You haven't been able to see the shows. And since I don't have any classes, I can do this show earlier today. So that's what we're at. But now it's now dark. So technically it's Houston after dark because it's 4:50 in the evening and pitch black outside because that's what winter is like. Yeah. Number letters. Is there a book you'd recommend for TA beginners? I'm currently reading Technical Analysis of the Financial Market by John Murphy. I don't do technical analysis. If I need to see some, I will drop by someone else's channel. I'll drop by Rocky or Jamie or Astro or Jackson, one of those guys that do TA, and I'll look at they'll draw the graphs, they'll do all the stuff, they'll tell you what they mean. That's probably the best way to do it. I'm sure there's probably a TA for Dummies book out there, which I bet rocks. But it is not my wheelhouse at all. I do not have the patience to like stare at a graph and draw lines. I tried, and I just wander to a book or a news article and I read that instead. So I just rely on other folks to do that for me. What is yeah. All right. Someone asking where was it? I was looking and I just missed it. Someone asking what brand was it? What brand of webcam I got? I think. Yeah, I got an Elgato, some 1080p blah 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 one. Folks say it's just as good as a DSLR, which I have a DSLR, but I don't want to like have to unplug it, plug it in, and deal with all that stuff. So I'm gonna get a dedicated webcam, and then I got Monkey Butt, some Chinese brand one. So she's gonna be small in the corner. She doesn't have to be HD. You just have to know that she's there, sitting there, being a sleepy little dog who's annoyed by everything. This muscle-bound freak today snapped the metal part of her leash when she saw we went into town, and when we go into town there's a bunch of little shops that'll give dogs treats, and the outdoor store has this big chunky chocolate lab named Walter, and Monkey Butt is just in love with Walter, and when she saw him she bolted and just snapped the lead, just broke it right off, and that was just left held in the leash. And now she's plumb tuckered after having a little love sesh with Walter the Chocolate Lab. Josh Pepels, Tennessee. If wormholes exist, hypothetically or even proven, would they always lead to the same place, a specific destination, and time in space? Ooh, that is heady. Okay. So the idea of a wormhole is, what can I use? Okay. So imagine, like space. You want to get from here to here. Well, a wormhole is a connection that kind of folds space and drops you off at one point. So it's like this weird portal that you enter over here and you pop out over here and you're done. That's kind of the basis behind the concept of wormholes, that they're these rips in space that connect one point to another across great distances. Now, in Star Treks and things like that, they have two kinds. They've got wormholes that connect you directly in your current time, and then in like Voyager, they had wormholes that connected across decades. So, what episode was it in Voyager? There's one where there was a ship of, can't remember if it was Romulans or not, but they got in radio contact with a ship through a wormhole that was like too small for them to go through, but a probe went through it, and it was connecting to like a Romulan who was, 30 years prior, 50 years prior, when there was some war going on that had not been settled yet. And so they managed to tell this Romulan and negotiate peace or something due to the time dilation involved. It would be weird. It'd be really weird how a wormhole could exist between 2 points in space and span the same amount and be at the same time without like going back at light years in time or forward. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find one of these days, or rip one right open and have a portal to another spot in space and just see what that's like. My guess is it's full of radiation and vacuum? But that's a good question to ask, and that's something I don't have an answer for either. Rob Tall, Houston, my 86-year-old mom has found a new interest in the black hole phenomenon. Love to hear your brainiac thoughts for her to listen to. Happy birthday. Well, black holes do exist. We can definitively prove that. Now, if we get into black holes, this is going to be a big rabbit hole of weirdness. For those who don't know, a black hole is essentially a collapsed star. That's the basis of it. And when a star is born, it comes as this cloud of gas that's kind of mingling around, and we'll bring one up. We'll bring up a stellar nursery. Images. Bing. All right. So stellar nurseries are these places where there's big balls of gas, and the balls of gas start to collapse under their own gravitational pressure. And as they do so, that pressure causes heat, because you're imagining you pressure cooker, right? It gets hotter, 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 and over time it collapses enough so that at the point these atoms and things that are bouncing off each other start bouncing off higher, faster and faster and faster and faster until they eventually stick and cause fusion. And when that happens, they'll let off a tremendous amount of energy and start burning start burning hydrogen into helium. And this is the main sequence portion of their life. Now, if they're a teeny tiny star, little red one, probably where the Predator is from, these teeny tiny stars essentially last forever. Like, we've never seen a red dwarf die, ever. Mathematically, they will fully convect and they will absolutely fuse everything inside of that star. And it may take them trillions upon trillions of years before they run out of fuel. Now, the bigger the star is, the more gravitational pressure there is, which means the hotter it is, which means more stuff gets fused. And these big hot stars live fast, die young. If you get a supermassive star that's like 50 times the size of our own sun, it will last maybe 100 million years total and then blow itself apart in a supernova. A star like our own sun is medium-sized. It'll last 10 billion years or so before it just sort of withers away into a planetary nebula and leaving behind a white dwarf. Now, if the star is big enough, it fuses hydrogen to helium. It starts packing this helium in to the core in the center of the star. And this is called a degenerate core. And because what's happening is electron degeneracy. And the best way to think of electron degeneracy is, there's a natural energy state that electrons want to be at while they orbit the nucleus of an atom. And if you pack these things in really close to each other, the electrons do not want to touch. So they get forced to these higher orbits around their atoms, and they don't like it. So when I have students in a classroom, what I do is I ask them, I have a classroom that can sit 50 students, and there's 20 of them in there. And I say, when you come into this classroom, your natural state of being is sitting wherever you choose. You get to be at your own energy level, and that's cool. Because you got all the luxury in the world. You can sit there, you can sit over there, you can sit here. You have all this choice. Now, if you fill the room with 50 students, you might not get your choice. You might be stuck sitting in the corner because you didn't show up in time, right? So you are forced by the predicament of there being more students in there than you like, and you can no longer be at your natural little fluid, happy energy level. You might be forced to a different energy level. Now, if I took those 50 students and I doubled it again, and all of a sudden we're at 100 students in that classroom, not everyone's going to get to have a seat, right? They're going to be, some of them be forced to stand, some are going to be sharing chairs, sitting on desks, sitting on the floor, leaning in the corner, right? And all of a sudden we're now at these artificial energy levels that are well beyond anyone's comfort. If I put 1,000 students in that room, everybody is packed together, shoulder to shoulder. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's gross. You smell each other's farts and BO. It's terrible. No one likes it. Now you put 10,000 people in that room. What happens? You might have them stacked on top of each other, like cargo, or in the ceiling tiles or whatever. You put 1 million people in that room. What happens? Splurt! They just turn into pink goo, super dense, and no one is any more identifiable from each other. They have now fused into a gelatinous goo. And that's kind of what eventually happens in these supermassive stars, is that, you make a degenerate core of helium, and when that core gets big enough, the helium collapses and starts fusing into carbon, and then that makes a degenerate core of carbon. If that carbon core gets big enough, it collapses and starts fusing into neon. A neon core collapses, can fuse into such. And a big enough star can make the degenerate cores all the way up through iron, and so eventually you get this iron core, and you've got, I don't know, like neon around it and carbon around it and then hydrogen around it and then helium around it, or whatever, and they're all burning and they're all doing their thing. It's kind of this layer of onions. When that iron core gets dense enough and big enough, it collapses. But when it does, it draws everything else in, and all that material basically fuses at once. So like 10% of the star's entire mass can fuse in 1 second, essentially. And that's when you get a supernova. It goes boom out in the universe. And depending on how big that star was, it can leave behind a black hole or a neutron star. And if it's a neutron star, essentially all the protons and all the neutrons and all the electrons collapsed in on each other and just made a whole bunch of neutrons. So it's like this super giant, dense nucleus of an unimaginably inert atom. And one spoonful can weigh like 350 million tons. So imagine, something that's, I don't know, 2 to 5 times the mass of our own sun in an object smaller than Manhattan. It's absolutely dense and crazy and impossible to fathom. Now, there's a point when this neutron degeneracy, the neutrons don't want to combine with each other. They're stuck. If more mass falls on that, it can collapse down again into a singularity, which means there's no force in the universe that can keep this stuff from occupying the same space. So all that material, the 5 times the mass of our own sun or whatever, now collapses down in a single point in space, and that's when you get a black hole. And the black hole is essentially that point in space, that singularity of infinite density, and might as well be infinite mass. And then there's this bubble of the event horizon around it, which is where no light can escape. And this is basically because the escape velocity leaving that point in space, that singularity, is the speed of light. So any light that's trying to travel is just like if you throw a baseball up in the air. It goes up, it slows down, and it falls back towards the center of gravity. So light is leaving, trying to get up there, slowing down, redshifting away, and then just falling back towards the singularity again. So light cannot escape. And so the event horizon is that point at which gravity overcomes the speed of light. Now, weird things can happen at the event horizon. So at the event horizon is the orbital velocity around the event horizon is the speed of light. So if you were to fall into a black hole, and as you cross the event horizon and you were to look out, you would see your own butt, because the light from your butt is orbiting the black hole and hitting you in the face. And if you were to turn, you would watch yourself turn, and you watch yourself turn, you watch yourself turn, and you'd see your own butt again. It's a pretty wild idea about the way time breaks down. And time begins to how do I put it? Time for you slows down to an outside observer. And from your point of view, you watch time speed up really quick. Time dilates. So if you were on a space pirate ship, they made you walk the plank and drop into a black hole, they'd see you fall towards that black hole, and it would look like you're falling towards that black hole forever. And if you were to look out, you would watch that ship like rust and disappear into the sands of time. And you would also watch all this light that is bending around the black hole and hitting you in the face. You'd watch the whole of the universe essentially come to an end in the period of time it takes you to fall into the event horizon. It's pretty wild, because as you approach the speed of light, time ceases to exist from your end, so you start to see all of it. And yeah, there's a little baby take for you on black holes for your mom, and I hope she liked that. Meow meow. I'm sorry, Houston, I have to ask, is the African anteater dance from the movie Can't Buy Me Love a real thing? That I have no idea. Not a clue. I can talk about black holes all day, but when it comes to African anteater dances, I'm not gonna know. All right, excellent. Good questions all around. I can only answer like half of them today. Okay. Interweb user sexy Houston at it again. Yeah, maybe. Ooh, boop. Big Houston again. Hi. Okay. Legacy 10 predictions. Houston. Okay. We still on target for Gherkin's exposure date, lineup run-up thesis. The 17th, T+2. What's Monday going to be like? Go Mariners. Well, according to Gherkin's theory, there's going to be some gamma tomorrow. The price wasn't as high this time around as it was for the November monthly calls, so we might not see very long gamma. I mean, the price was over $200 last time around, and we ran to like 250 something on that Monday, and then it dropped off precipitously. So we're probably looking at, a bit of a price jump just from that natural gamma post the monthlies. But I think what we're looking at is the cyclical nature of the quarterly futures rollovers and failure to delivers. And so that's probably going to be a bigger jump for anything else, combined with the fact that liquidity is drying up due to China just drying up. So yeah, there we go. Benson, China building a nuclear power station about 30 miles from me. Well, where are you, Benson? They also built a big nuclear reactor for their oil rigs. They have nuclear powered oil rigs offshore in the South China Sea. So yeah. Everton Lacerda, Houston, is it a good idea having options during MOAS? If you have options during MOAS, I think it's very unlikely you'll be able to sell them. You'll have to exercise, which if you exercise just results in more gamma, which results in the price going even higher, which means you make even more money by the time you get delivery of those stocks. So that's how I see it. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But the folks who would normally be around to buy those options from you won't have the cash. They're going to be way too expensive. And they're going to be focused on buying physical shares. So you just exercise them and then just add to that pile of this physical shares they've got to buy. And it makes it like the ultimate gamma. Okay. Sports Mom, how low do you think GME and AMC will dip before the rip? I think they may have done it. I think that's what we saw this week. I think that was the dip before the rip. That's speculation on my part. I could be totally wrong, but they tried desperately to drop that price as much as they could, and it bounced off 130 something for GME and 20 something for AMC, and is going right back up again. Yeah, that's the way I see it. I had $30 sold puts expired today. Will they be exercised? What did AMC finish at today? Totally forgot. AMC. Oh, at 1 p.m. is below $30. I was at 29 and change. I doubt they'll exercise because it would mean a loss for them. Because if they bought those puts, and they paid a premium on them, $2, $3, $4, whatever it might be, and they'd essentially be getting those stocks for more than what they can get at market due to that premium. So I don't think it's very likely they'll be exercised. They may be weirdos and exercise them. I don't know. But, yeah. Mundo, y'all think 64 GME is enough? Broke as F. Yeah. It's something that's going to go to $1 million a share. Yeah. You have $64 million right there. Goes to $10 million a share, you got $640 million. You're fine. Goes to $100 million a share, you got $6.4 billion. You're golden. Yeah. Oh, can I retweet that Reddit tweet? Oh, shoot. I need to go back to Reddit here. Boom, boom, boom. Where'd it go? Go back one more. Go back one more. There it is. I will retweet that Reddit tweet. Retweeted right now. Boom. Done. Okay. Cubus. Burning the midnight oil. 150 in the Netherlands right now. That's bedtime, baby. But it's all right. You can hang out with us for a little while longer. William Morgan establishing lira's lost more than half its value. Yep, lira's collapsing. I mean, the lira did not... I mean, Turkey didn't do itself any favors by essentially putting a hand out to NATO, the EU, and the US, and then embracing Russia. As big as Russia is, as historically powerful as Russia has been, Russia's economy is not that big. It's like, I don't know, I think California has a bigger economy than Russia. It's like 1/20th the size of the U.S. economy, GDP-wise. And so if you are going to, ignore the biggest economies in the world for a country that doesn't really have that great an economy, you're not going to do yourself any favors. You're going to lose a lot of export value because, folks aren't going to want to deal with you, and they're going to find, olives from somewhere else. They're going to find pomegranates from somewhere else. They're going to find symbols from somewhere else. They're going to find, open up factories in a country that's, got more higher democratic norms or something. They're just going to ignore you, and it's going to put a big strain. And when you're surrounded by countries that are like constantly at war, you got Syria and Lebanon and Iraq and stuff, you got a refugee crisis. You've got, a lot of issues that can destabilize your ability to import and export, and it does not mean well for you. So they really, I think they shot themselves in the foot by embracing, authoritarian Islamists like Erdogan and putting a big embrace around Putin and cronies. They're going to see their lira drop even more. A lot more on the horizon for that. Okay. Julianne, sounds like they're going to do a little FOMO spreading to make them rise so people will start selling too. Can't believe they're suddenly admitting to squeeze just another June. Maybe. Okay. Elgato Facecam. I think that might be what it's called. Cubus. It's Elgato something. That was the highest rated one from Consumer Reports. I was just like, best webcam. That one. Done. Set 50 net. Help. I have constant night terrors and can't sleep since your late night show. I'm haunted by flying ducks the size of horses. I feel like I'm stuck in the movie Wizard of Oz. I'm quacking up. Matt Everts. Oh, missed the super chat. Quick Friday question. Is butt cheeks one word or should I spread them apart? Oh, Fridays. Fridays are a mess, aren't they? Oh. And because I'm doing it like 3 hours earlier today, you guys are even more just cuckoo brained right now. Should you spread them apart? Butt cheeks. Butt cheeks. Butt cheeks. Butt cheeks. I think you can do whatever you want with your butt cheeks, personally. Either way, I know what you're talking about. All right. Spread them. How dare you, Matt? Dino C. Houston, there's rumors that Kenny is on house arrest. Is that true? Yeah, I doubt that. that would be announced. There'd be some sort of grand jury, blah, 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 blah. So I don't think it's on house arrest. Oh no, people are trying to get into time paradox here. Gary Delvecchio, why in all movies that have time travel, they always worry about changing the timeline? The timeline is already changed because the travel already happened. Well, says you, right? Did it already happen? If we're in a multiverse theory, then we're spinning off different universes, which I don't really subscribe to. If we are in a set universe theory, the timeline only changes the first time someone goes back in time. So there's at least one period where no one went back in time, and there's another period where someone went back in time. My issue with time travel is that it also requires essentially teleportation to any point in the universe, because I talked about this before. Like, we're on a planet going around a star at 66,000 miles an hour. That star is floating around the galaxy at 120 kilometers per second. So, like 75 miles per second is how fast this star is going through the galaxy. When you go back in time, like if I were to hit my time machine right now and go back in time 100 years, blunk, I would not appear on the surface of the Earth where I started 100 years ago. What would happen is I would appear in the vacuum of space where our planet is now, and have to wait 100 years for the Earth to smack into me. So I think that's why whenever MIT holds their time travelers convention, no one shows up. There's probably a bunch of people in the future. They're like, I'm going to go to the time travelers convention. Boop. And they just blink into space. And they got to wait, 500 years for the Earth to catch up to them and slap into them. And then we see a beautiful meteor shoot across the sky. So there we go. Yep. Wildcat Strike. We're talking about paradoxes. Was Hitler a giant SOB because time travelers are always trying to kill him? Yeah. You cannot kill me. Kinda. Okay. Predators from Beetlejuice. Yeah, very likely. Big red star. Problem is Beetlejuice. Problem with having the predator be from Beetlejuice is that Beetlejuice was a super blue giant. It's a huge, massive star, and the conditions that star would create is essentially really, really high radiation flux, neutron flux. It would make any planet near that star, like in that star system, really hard for that planet to cultivate the conditions for life. And because here on Earth, it took 4.5 billion years to make smart things that can fart around on a computer and make Rinchos go twice, that a supermassive star that only lasts for 100 million years isn't going to be around long enough for the evolutionary process to take place to make something as smart as the Predator. So that's my problem with the Predator being from Beetlejuice. The Predator has to be from a much smaller star that's been around for a lot longer. Its habitable zone is probably really tiny because the star is not that warm. Everything comes out in infrared, so that's why the eyesight of the Predator peaks in infrared. I would go with, it'd be smarter lore for the Predator to come from a red dwarf than it would be from a red giant. Because a red giant has lived its life. It's only been in the red giant phase. Like, if you have 100 million year star, it'll be in the red giant phase for maybe 10 million years or less before it goes blunk and explodes. So there's a lot of evolutionary pressure to pack into that amount of time. Okay. Phil C. Thoughts on your interview with Marcel? He gave a just trust me bro answer when discussing Adam Aaron and CFO selling shares. Yeah, I mean, my response to that is Adam Aaron was given $21 million bonus in January of last year, or January of this year. And if you or I were given $21 million, you or I could definitely float for a few years holding on that. That, this thing squeezes to the moon, the price it bottoms out at is still going to be much higher than it is now. And you can sell then. Yeah, he's old. Which is just another reason why I should probably get some young buck in there to kick ass and take names. That's, people, they have their prerogative that they can sell. But they also have the prerogative to do what's in the best interest of the shareholders. We're his boss. So, that's my thing. Like, get somebody who doesn't need to sell to lead your company. Right? Right, monkey? Yeah, she agrees. Yep. Just made her itchy thinking about it. Oh, I drink out of the wrong mug. That's my extra mug. I need to drink out of the one that has the noodle. There we go. Okay. Nanotechy JP Morgan article doesn't mention GME. That's true, because they're probably talking about the hundreds or thousands of other stocks that are going to squeeze in that amount of time. There's a lot of them they're going to squeeze in there. Houston, you ever listen to Art Bell? Back in the day, if you happen to be on the radio, listen to it and go, this is nuts, man. Yeah, Art Bell is an excellent outlet for people to listen to the weirdest stuff. What's amazing is that we had Art Bell for so long on the radio talking about absolutely squirrely things, and everyone just sort of saw it as like listening to the weekly world news, like Bat Boy and weird stuff like that. Now we've got a third of humanity reading the crappiest conspiracy websites and going, yeah, lizard people. And it's Art Bell. Art Bell would just go at all of this today. Like, I cannot believe that my little radio show could have been a website that absolutely melted everyone's brains into mush. Houston, I think you mentioned, just from Daphne Berry. Houston, I think you mentioned Fidelity is not part of the DTCC. Are they like JP Morgan Chase and their own clearinghouse? Am I reaching to think this is good for those who have their shares there? Yeah. Fidelity is its own clearinghouse. They are not members of the DTCC. That's the entire reason I've got the bulk of my investments with them. They're long on the meme stocks, and they are not responsible for anybody at the DTCC. So that's why I got them. James Hebb, Super Chats. Hate Griffin, but I also hate Crypto Bros equally, and kind of makes me laugh that he outbidded them for the Constitution at the last second. I mean, it is, it is funny. It's funny. Just admit that it's funny. Yeah, there's a certain broosity around crypto that really is, I don't know how to describe it. There's like this ascribed religious outlook upon crypto as if it is the golden savior for everything. Being this decentralized and being that it's massively unregulated means that it's just this repetitive crime zone of speculation. So, the big thing about the Chinese real estate market and why it's collapsing is because it was built upon what's called the greater fool theory. And the greater fool theory ascribes value to something on a speculative basis where I can buy this useless thing and someone dumber, a bigger fool than me, is going to buy it for more than I paid for it later. And it's related to a Ponzi scheme in that way. So in China, where you can't necessarily trade stocks or do investment action, a lot of your wealth is tied up in owning property. And you can't afford to buy property in one of the major cities like Shanghai or Beijing because it's going to cost you $2 million for the average home in one of those cities. The disconnect between wage and property value is like 50 times the wages, the average salary. And here in the U.S., it's bad. It's like 15 times in major cities. So how are people in poor places like Beijing going to afford a $2 million one-bedroom apartment? They can't. So what they do is they buy an apartment in a ghost city somewhere off in the distance in the hinterlands that no one can live in. There's no stairs to go to the apartment. There's no electricity, no water. You cannot live there because it's not designed for living. It's just this vessel, this this NFT, if you will, that is a unit of wealth, and it's sitting there, and you can tell, some girl you're dating, hey, I got 4 apartments over in Useless City. She goes, oh my God. And then you hope that a year later, someone else who needs those apartments to impress the lady comes along and offers you more for this useless apartment you can't live in than what you paid for. The speculative nature behind a lot of crypto is based upon the greater fool theory of, I bought this coin or this NFT or whatever, and its entire value is based upon someone else paying more for it later and getting absolutely nothing out of it. You're not getting dividends out of it. You're not getting, ownership in a company. You don't have any assets. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. And so there's this really weird speculative bubble that can happen around certain forms of crypto that are entirely based upon the firm belief that somebody else is going to come along and pay more for this item than what I paid for it. Why? Because. And, you point that out to some of these crypto bros, they get so mad. So mad. I guess, cryptocurrency does have a couple other uses. Paying for crimes and money laundering. So that helps. But, you can also launder money through purchase of condos and things. But yeah, the Chinese market is going to collapse hard, very, very hard. And the folks who are left holding the bag on these ghost properties are not going to find buyers for 20, 30 years. It's going to be really, really, really bad. Okay. Josh Pet Pals. Is metamaterials a decent short play? I still think it is. They just went on the, what do you call it? The list where you can't use it for margin that GME and AMC are on. The name of it is totally escaped my brain. If somebody can throw that out there, I'd greatly appreciate it because my mind's not thinking of what that's actually called. But metamaterial is someone posted a Reddit article that showed that there's a company that they think is essentially announcing that they bought the Oro Grande University lands property from metamaterials. So this stock is going to flip over into Oilco, and Oilco will immediately become a preferred share that's probably full of cash. And the shorts may be responsible for like billions in payment in lieu if they do not close their positions. So, either you're going to get a huge price for that stock, or you can get a big old chunk of change from the dividend. So I think it's still there. Make the intro into a ringtone. How do I do that? Make it for sale on the App Store? I don't know. Okay, Meatball Candy. Make the intro a ringtone. Put that on the list. Make intro a ringtone. Ringtone. Party like it's 2005. There we go. All right. So I heard something about, I think it was Nelly or Cisco or someone like that the sales of their ringtones made them like $1 billion or something. Maybe not Cisco. I think Cisco went bankrupt. It must have been Nelly, like in 2004, 2005, when that was like a big thing to have those customized ringtones. Now everyone just turns the volume off on their phone and they never want to answer a phone ever. My, how times have changed. Okay. Daphne Berry, I just noticed I have a moderator thing next to my name. I don't know what to do, and I'm actually not on my computer, I'm on my phone. Yeah, I made you a moderator, Daphne. The other night when we had Boss Blunts on, we didn't have enough moderators in, so I just made a couple of regulars moderators if I could, and use that power benignly, I hope. Adrian PD, 1982. Houston, can you explain the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? I can explain it the best way that I understand it, which is life doesn't matter. The universe is gigantic and does not even know that we're here. That being said, the definition of life is eating, shitting, and procreating. And what we consider life as human beings philosophically is basically killing time between those three acts. Right? You eat, you kill some time. You poop, you kill some time. If you're lucky, you do some fornication and you kill some time. There's other creatures that exist that all they do is they eat and poop and cell divide, and they do that over and over and over again. Trees, they suck oxygen out of the air, they eat sunshine, they fart out some fruit, they drop their leaves, they do it all over again. So the meaning of life is kind of kill some time. That's the meaning of life. Go out there and do your best at killing time. It's not the biggest philosophical lesson I can teach, but that seems to be as far as it goes for me. Okay. Oh, man. Okay. Where did I... I totally lost my spot. There it is. Okay. Meaning of life. Justin Kappa TV Houston, can you explain tax loss harvesting? Yeah, so the end of the fiscal year, remember, is 11:59 p.m. on December 31st before it turns over the new year. And so if you want a break on your taxes, you have to do wash sales, essentially. You have to sell some stuff at a loss. And then you can claim, I made some bad investments this year. You have to give me a tax break. It's a way of sort of cutting back on what you might owe in taxes. So like Adam Aaron may be doing this, and I might have to talk to a CPA exactly to see if this is exactly how it works. But he exercises options while AMC was over $40. So he exercises options. He got a bunch of stock that was worth $40 as a result, and then he sold a bunch when it was at like $30 or $25. So essentially, he got this huge amount of stock and then sold it for a perceived loss because he got it at this price up here, sold it for down here, and he will not have to pay taxes and managed to like scoop up a bunch of millions of dollars. Folks that see, especially the market tanking right now, like the market's going down, well, what they'll do is they'll jettison their holdings in a company that's still kind of up here, expecting that 30 days or more from now, sometime in January, the price may be way down. So they can scoop up more shares at a better deal while getting a tax write-off for the fact that it dropped as much as it has this year since they purchased. So they'll get a tax break that way. So that's kind of what they're doing. Gary DeVecchio, what courses do you teach? I retired and now teach finance and accounting. You are more exciting. So right now I teach math for film students, and I teach science for film students at a local college here in Seattle, and I teach intro to astronomy. My previous job was teaching for the Art Institute of Seattle, where I was essentially their math and science department. So I taught a little bit of everything. I taught everything from like, these are numbers, up through calculus. And I taught intro courses galore. Intro to biology, intro to geology, intro to evolution, intro to ecology, intro to astronomy, physics of sound, physics of motion, logic, college preparedness. What else did I teach while I was there? Oh, chemistry for food. What other classes? There was a lot. It also meant, like, oftentimes if I was sick, I couldn't call in because the classes are once a week and 4 hours long, and you get 11 of them in a quarter. And if we have a holiday in one of those quarters, like Martin Luther King Day or whatever, then we're down to 10, and that's 40 credit hours. And if we drop below 40 credit hours, the class wouldn't count. So if I got like violently ill in, say, winter quarter, and we already had a holiday knocking off one of those classes, then I basically had to like be a boogery monster and try to teach for 4 hours for a bunch of students because I couldn't afford them to drop down to 36 hours because then the whole class wouldn't count. And that was brutal. Benson, okay, Hinkley Point in Somerset, England is where that nuclear reactor is going in. Interesting. Why are the Chinese building it and not the Brits? That seems wild. The Brits have had nuclear technology for 70 years. Why aren't they jumping on board with that? Matter of fact, the Brits built one of the first nuclear reactors in the world. Okay. Tree Man, McCool, Jackson, Houston, do you agree that Babylon 5 was a better TV series than Star Trek? Well, every time I've tried to watch Babylon 5, I never finished an episode. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. For me, it was kind of, I don't know. It's like, you know those fantasy books where it's like, I'm Gildar of Kelmec, and I've got the sword of Grupitude, and this is my son Delglon of Flornaut, and his wife Princess Felborp of Dilbarp, and you're like, I don't give a shit about any of these people. Just call one Tom and go from there. Babylon 5 had a bit of that, and it's just, there's so much going on that I never really sat down and tried to watch it from the beginning. So, because every time I tried to watch the show when it was on, it was just, I'm like, I don't know who these people are, what's going on. None of this makes sense to me. I'm not emotionally invested in any of this. I may have to try to actually watch it from the beginning, but 25 years ago when it was on, I could never get into it. Whereas with Star Trek, at least I had the fundamentals of who all the different races were around the universe. So like when they had it, they would have these standalone episodes where it's like, okay, I know what's going on. I know who a Ferengi is. I know who Romulans are, and so much. All right, Brandon Bollinger. Appreciate we do. Just jumped on. Does JP Morgan alluding to a squeeze benefit them based off of them not being in the DTCC? Possibly, especially if they spent the last when they leave DTCC was 6 months ago or so. So they spent like the last year loading up on long positions in a lot of these meme stocks. They may now just be like, hey, let's do this. They might be jumping on our side if they've gathered up a bunch of these long positions. So that might be one way they can combat any of those firms, those funds that trade under them. They might serve as prime broker for. So at least they've hedged against their own like crappy margin lending. Ed Willich, thank you for super chat, much appreciated. Okay. Aaron F. My wife has the same cups and straws. We need to start a pool to see how long before Houston breaks either the straw or the cup. I say the straw breaks within a week. Yeah, this thing is like a delicate little pipette. It is definitely like crack pipe worthy. I mean, it's very much like a pipette I've got in my little gold lab in the garage. But that sound right there does not engender confidence that at one point I won't accidentally shake that thing too hard and the entire bottom falls out and I just have a puddle everywhere. But I'm gonna soldier on. We're gonna see where this goes because I'm determined to see it through. And speaking of which, I'm gonna take a sip right now. Also, I can do that thing because my image is like reversed from what I see, so I can like be that guy trying to get there, and it's not gonna happen. Russia has good vodka. There you go. But Smirnoff comes from Latvia, so think about that. Wildcat Strike 3, Grand Cherokee or 4Runner? I'd take a 4Runner over Grand Cherokee any day. Yeah. Every Cherokee I've driven in or had to drive has had like just shit falling off of it here and there. I'm sure the modern ones are super fancy, but I've been burned by Jeeps for so long that I just can't. Yeah. The Grand Wagoneers were really cool trucks, though, even though they were hunks of AMC garbage or American Motor Company garbage. Okay. Meow meow. I think JP Morgan is going to buy Bank of America and Wells Fargo post squeeze. I also think you missed my last super chat. Did I? Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, meow meow. I think you're right. That's what Jamie Dimon does, is that he buys these guys up for pennies when they collapse. That's the African anteater one. Where meow meow. Oh, Wildcat Strike sent me a poop emoji. Thank you, Wildcat Strike. I appreciate that. Oh, meow meow. If aliens land and finally communicate with us, but they're exactly like Jim Neighbors and Ruth Buzzy from Croft Superstars Lost Saucer, do we shoot them? I mean, the likelihood of aliens coming here and us not shooting them is smaller than them coming here and us shooting them. I would give the odds of aliens coming here and having an American hollow point rip through one of their bodies at some point at like 30 to 1. It's very likely. No, sorry, 3 to 1, I should say. It's going to happen. We like shooting things, and we like shooting things we don't understand. I remember in 1998, we had like this giant El Nino. And the surf in California was huge, and the ocean temperatures warmed a whole bunch. So in the southern coast of Washington, the water temperatures got to like 70s plus degrees. They're warmer than it's ever been off the coast. And a green sea turtle washed up in, I think, Long Beach, which is a big, long sand spit in southern Washington on the Pacific coast. And everyone's standing around marveling at this green sea turtle actually being in Washington State, going, oh, wow, look at this green sea turtle. And the green sea turtle is just enjoying itself in the sand, getting some sun. And this redneck comes up with a shotgun, just blows the head off the green sea turtle and drags it away. And of course, like, touching a green sea turtle is like a $20,000 fine. Like, you cannot kill one, that's for sure. You're going to prison. So they arrested this guy, and they asked him, like, why did you kill the green sea turtle? And his response was, I thought it'd make a really cool coffee table. And I wouldn't doubt that there's some redneck out there that if the aliens landed, they'd think, I bet that thing would make a cool coffee table. And we're going to run into some trouble there. So that's, I am not necessarily a profound observer of human nature, but I've been around enough to know that most people are mostly stupid. And that's kind of what I predicate a lot of my decision making upon. Okay. Daphne Berry, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and tell your friends. Yes, hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends. There you go. Okay. Interweb user, pretty sure the squeeze article is about the general stocks sold short over the year, leading to a SPY short covering rally. I've been watching that potential for months. Might be included in there. I'm sure we're going to have lots of stuff squeezed. So yeah. Smooth Gutty Beats looks like Moas is next year. I feel like it. I feel like it too. If it's, the guts going. I like this. I think there's some squirrely stuff that's going to happen, and just I don't know if it's predilection or if it's just hope springs eternal, but there's enough squirrely things going on that something's got to pop here eventually. Sub has the boss. Why did I drop out of pure science and went to computer science? Probably because you wanted to earn a living? that might have been why. You can still do it. Always go back to school. Why not? I do it all the time. Challenge investing. Do you think the government can step in and delist the stock for the price surge during the squeeze? No. I think if the price gets to a stupid point, they'd have to let it go. If they do any delisting or a big giant 30-day halts, they're going to be running into more trouble than it's worth. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, I just heard back from Scott. He says he doesn't know what font he used. Doesn't help anyone, man. He said he basically looked up aviator fonts. So Stonk Mom, look up aviator fonts, and that's what he used to make my intro. Word. Send. All right. There you go. That's all I know. Aviator fonts. Meow meow. Rockies, Smokies, or Cascades, your favorite and why? I mean, I grew up in the Cascades. So, I mean, there's nostalgia and things there. But I make a lot more money out of the Rockies. I've only driven through the Smokies once. Yeah, they're all right. They're not that big. They're more like glorified hills than mountains. The Rockies are super dramatic. There's a lot of mineralization, so they're really fun to go like smash rocks and pull stuff out. And diamonds, lots of rubies and sapphires, corundums. You can get sunstones, you can get tourmalines, you can get beryls. There's a lot more to be had in the Rockies. They're a much older mountain range, and so they're like more gnarlier and craggy. So I think I enjoy the Rockies more. Plus, every town you go to, all the bars sell deep fried pickles, and that might be my favorite snack in the entire world. So they don't sell deep fried pickles in any of the towns out here, and deep fried pickles are delicious. Oh, so good. All right. Gary DeVecchio, you're better tonight. I listened to this YouTube once about a year from now, and thank you. All right. All right, how far behind? I'm 25 minutes behind. That's much less than usual. I'm only 25 minutes behind the chat. That's not so bad. All right. Adrian, hey man, the lizard people are real. You clearly haven't done LSD. I have not done LSD. That's true. I'm a complete square who has never done LSD. So, yeah. All right. Felix says a good TA channel is Rain or Tau. If the guy's still in here who asked earlier, it's 1:23 a.m. where you are, so you must be in Europe as well. I'm really impressed with you, Euro swine, joining me for the late nights here. I normally get you guys as you're like waking up when if I do a show late at night. Like, oh, Houston's doing a Twitch at 6 a.m. my time. Like bottom punched. Punch that like bottom. Borf Boo Houston, do you think I think Oil Co. has a buyer for the MMTLP dividend? I do think so. I think somebody's lined up. The couple of oil guys who pop in here, Andrew Stewart and what's the other oil guy? I'm sorry if I'm forgetting your name. I'm trying to remember everybody's names. They're like yeah, the oil leases get purchased the first few weeks of the quarter, and that's when it happens. And so we're turning that corner. Oil is projected to rise in the next year or so. And so we got that going for us. I think that sale is going to happen in January. Alex Hansen, Mick Michelson, Fideli's After Hours Trading, is that a legit way to sell anyone? It confuses me. I have never had a successful after hours order go through. So I've tried. I've watched the price bounce up and down past my ask, and it never sells. So I don't know how people do any after hours anything. I've never had it successfully work in any platform I've used. So best of luck to anybody who sells after hours, but I have not successfully done it. Make the intro and NFT gift. Oh, GIF. Well, if I make the intro a GIF or an NFT, then wouldn't I like not own it anymore, and someone could do a DRM claim against me, copyright strike, and then own my channel? So nice try, Satan. Not this time. Homeless millionaire. This is the first time I've seen you blinded by bias. Which bias is that I'm blinded by? Please elaborate there, homeless millionaire. Was it because I was trash talking Bitcoin or such things in general? All right. Looking for the questions. Yes, James Webb Space Telescope going up on the 24th. It was supposed to launch tomorrow, but they put it off again. So Christmas Eve is a good time to launch James Webb Telescope. I'm stoked. Let's do it. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. You know, I'm excited for a new camera because I'm wearing a very detailed, it's almost like cross-stitch type shirt. And I'm realizing you guys can't quite see how like fine the little flowers are on this thing because I can't focus this camera at all. It won't focus. It won't do it. So the new camera, I can like twist the lens and make it focus and not just be stuck with whatever it wants to point at. Meow meow. What % do you think S&P will lose due to MOAS? $300 Tesla again. Ooh. I mean, you're looking at, if you got big funds, your Melvins and stuff, selling off $10-12 billion in assets to cover their bad bets. And you might have dozens of hedge funds that are close to that size. You know, you're looking at a several $100 billion sell-off. Not all of it is in blue chips. A lot of it is in bonds. But I think it can drop an appreciable percent, 20-25%. I think it can do that easily. If we have a 20-25% drop in the market, that would probably involve the government stepping in to make things right. The market dropped 37% by March 20th of 2020 due to COVID shutdown. And it would have free fallen further. I bet a guy $10 that the market was going to drop by 50%. And because the government actually stepped in sooner than I thought they would, I lost that bet and had to pay him $10 because it only went down 37%. But the market would have gone into absolute free fall. And I think very really could have collapsed down to March 2009 numbers, where the Dow was at like 6,000. MOAS can probably drop it an appreciable percentage. What can drop it bigger than that is a default cascade from the Chinese market. Now remember, when the housing market in the U.S. collapsed, that was $2.5 trillion that collapsed that market and sent a cascade around the markets around the world. We're looking at like $4 to $12 trillion with the Chinese bonds. That's huge. And that's combined with, another trillion in margin that's going to vaporize. It's combined with another 5 trillion in corporate debt that can lead to big time troubles, and combined with a housing crisis of our own in the U.S., with inflation, with supply chain issues. There's a lot of things that can converge and all explode because one of these things gets too big for its britches and goes pop, and we're left just watching it just domino after domino, bong 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 bong, all the way down the line. And so that's, I think a lot of those stocks can drop a lot. Tesla, on the other hand, is shorted heavily. I think it was rightly shorted. The problem is it was shorted way more than the float. And Elon Musk has a cult of personality around him. And so there's a lot of people out of spite and love in this parasocial relationship they have with Elon. They're going to hold on to that Tesla stock forever. And so that's what makes it a hard bet. Yeah. So that's the issue that Tesla has. So can you get to 300? I mean, it probably should be at 300, maybe less as fundamentals, but we have to ignore fundamentals in squeeze plays like this. Josh Pels, Tennessee, do you know anything about TMGI or BBLR penny stocks? Not a clue about either one of them, but I'll write them down and I'll take a look at them. TMGI and BBLR. All right, we'll take a look at those, see what that's all about. Sorry, can help immediately. Meow meow. Also, again, a lot of retail will panic sell with the fall. Also, retail will sell in FOMO into MOAS. I'm thinking 50% sell off. That's also very likely. I mean, if you are afraid the SPY is going to drop a whole bunch, why not go into negative beta stocks? I mean, you'll sell your regular stocks, you'll buy gold. You'll sell your regular stocks, you'll buy the things that are rocketing, and there'll probably be a big old switcheroo happening. So that's probably a good point. Yeah, I didn't calculate the retail side of that, but I'm sure that you'll have a couple of big tech companies will be fine. Like you've got Microsoft that's doing a $60 billion buyback of their own stock to inflate the price, so they're probably going to be okay. It's the small caps and mid caps will not have the luxury or cash on hand to do that because other companies have spent so much money over the last decade already doing stock buybacks that they are in the hole and they can't afford to do something like a $60 billion stock buyback. And you also subject, I think at this point, I've bought you one share of GME, so I get credit for the last share you sell laddering up. You're welcome for the 50 million. Well, thank you. Thank you, Meow Meow. I appreciate that very much. We'll drink to that with our straw. Okay. All right. Now everyone's talking about killing time in the chat here. Now we're at the killing time portion. All right, I am still only like 25 minutes behind the chat. Not too shabby. Good job. We're keeping up on things here. Clean me up, Scotty. Aaron hired JP Morgan Securities LLC to handle the sale of 1.25 million shares. That's what I was wondering about, is that it sounded like they were basically doing a swap. That Adam Aaron was handing 1.25 million shares to JP Morgan, and JP Morgan is handing him a diverse array of other stocks. So JP Morgan might be like, here's $1.25 million of moon tickets. We'll give you all this shit stock that's going to collapse here in 3 months. Have at it, Adam Aaron. And that might be one of the ways that they're going long on this. I wouldn't doubt that. Someone has news otherwise, send it to me. I would love to see it. People talking about LASIK. I need to get LASIK. Oh, yay! We've got ourselves some coordinates coming in from Adam Watkins. Okay. We go scene. We turn off Chrome. We go Google Earth. And let's paste ourselves. I gotta delete that part there so that it doesn't screw up my pink. Where are we going? Oh, we're going to Utah. We're going to Bonneville Salt Flats. We're going to the cul-de-sac at the Bonneville Salt Flats. Yeah, Bonneville Speedway, baby. Look at the Salt Flats. Look at those tire tracks through here. Bonneville Speedway is running into some trouble. Climate change is really affecting and lessening the amount of salt that's on the track. And so there's times they can't actually do the runs. If you have a chance, go I-80 here. This very long, straight, flat drive on I-80. It's, I don't know, probably 20, 30 miles. How long are you? Go there. So this straight portion is, 48 miles, almost 50 miles without a turn. It is windy as hell through there. Every time I go through there, some piece of my truck blows off into the desert. It's crazy. I've lost wheelbarrow wheels. I've lost entire objects blowing off my truck. I've seen semi-trailers like on their side going on this stretch here. But the raceway is this flat section here. If you have a rental car and you get that rental car in Nevada or Utah, you may have to sign something that says, I will not drive this on the salt. But if you go into Wendover, this little town here, if you go to the various detailing places or car washes, they specifically wash cars just to get the salt off of them. Because lots of people bring really expensive race cars out here to hit land speed records and stuff. And so these guys are experts at blasting every bit of salt out from under your car so you don't rust everything to oblivion. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. I was out there a few years ago when they were doing a race week, and the salt was cracking and a lot of the groundwater was coming through, and all the cars were just caked with salt. It was, if I was a piece of iron, I'd be so upset at seeing that happen to my vehicle. But that's what they build them for. This big salt mine. Where's the salt mine? I think it's a little before on this side of the thing. Yeah, there's a big salt mine out here. And then up north, where's the ghost town? Oh, shoot. Where's the ghost town? Where are you? Ooh, there's a ghost town in here. They tried farming and it did not work because it never watered. But all the buildings are made out of concrete, so there's like these crazy telephone booths that look like missiles to the moon. What is the name of that freaking ghost town? That is bothering me. One sec. That's what I'm thinking. Arenosa? Is that the one? Might be Arenosa. Okay. Let me see if that's it. Oh, Arenosa. Utah? Nope. That's not it. Which one was it? There was Arenosa. There was Salduro. Maybe Salduro. That might be the train one, though. Shoot. Which one was it? Salduro. Salduro, Utah. No, not Salduro, because that's along I-80. That's not it. That is not the one I'm thinking of at all. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you, ghost town? Thistle? I think it was Thistle. I might like put every freaking ghost town in here because the name's not coming to me. Definitely not Thistle. Wrong way. Well, shit. There's a ghost town somewhere in here. So the train tracks go through here. And there's a couple of them. There was one that had a whole bunch of train track blown up because dynamite got stuck in there and the whole town vanished because they all blew up. There's another one somewhere in here, you son of a bee, that I cannot find. Did I put it in? How might be my ghost town list? Okay, one sec. Let me turn on the plague that is. I might have made a pin for it. Did I make a pin for it? Jackson? Jackson might be the one that blew up. I think this one. Yeah, Jackson's the train one that blew up. That's not the one I'm looking for. I don't think it's Terrace. Is it Terrace? No. You guys are watching me like try to go back in my mind like 10 years here and pull out which ghost town. I don't think it was this one, but Box Elder County, Division Point, do Southern Pacific Railroad, Great Salt Road. Monticello. That's where that's where they are today. Okay. Shit. I'll have to get back to you on this one because I cannot remember which ghost town that was, and I'm totally. Anyway, go to Bonneville Salt Flats. Enjoy your time. Wash your car, if you do. That's the lesson of that. Boink, Big Houston. Okay. Did I miss? Oh, APB 022. Postmo asks, where would you want to go on a field trip with viewers? I work predominantly as a nurse, but the show has me wanting to smash rocks. Man, I think, like, if you're gonna do a summertime trip, I'm gonna go back to the Google Earth here. Summertime trip, like this stuff is hot and miserable in the summer, but if you go, like, oh goodness, we need to turn off the chaos of all these pins. If you go into the high Rockies, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, you can be at 9,000 feet. It's 70 degrees during the day. It's pretty nice. Might get some rainstorms and stuff, but there's really cool stuff to look for in these areas. You can look for diamonds. You can look for sapphires and rubies, gold, all sorts of things. I would do exploring in the summertime, like through here, but a fall Mojave trip would be really fun, or a spring one, early spring, like late March, early April, doing a Mojave trip through Antelope Valley, the Mojave Desert, Death Valley, Marigosa Valley, like all through here, and down into Palm Springs and Palm Valley. Like this whole region is really rad and really desolate, and you get it during a super bloom, and the flowers are everywhere. It is just like one of the prettiest places you can go visit. You can get sand dunes covered in wildflowers during good super bloom years. So just imagine like a transitory sand dune covered with like millions of little purple honeysuckles or whatever. They're really cool. So that's type of stuff. You can mine. You can get silver. You can get opals. You can get Mexican fire agates down here by the Colorado River. You can, I talked about I wanted to do a run from Eagle Mountain, Ghost Town. Where's Eagle Mountain? Oh goodness, Eagle Mountain. Follow the train tracks. Follow the train tracks. Damn you, Eagle Mountain. There's Eagle Mountain. Okay. So this is an old, I think, iron mine owned by Alcoa. And it's a huge ghost town. You are not supposed to hop the fence and venture this ghost town, but Criminal Houston would highly recommend hopping the fence and traveling through this giant ghost town. There's all sorts of like shopping malls and restaurants and just empty awesomeness here. But there's a train track that they would bring their ore down the mountain, by the train track, and go through these loops and hoops and whatnots, and go all the way down. It would go past this really cool canyon, across the highway, go through this really cool canyon by the really stinky Salton Sea, and the Red Canyon is in here. It's really beautiful, like through here, absolutely gorgeous. And then wiggles its way down, works its way down, gets by the Salton Sea, and then heads up the road and goes all the way up into Fontana, where the processing facility was. Somewhere in and I want to build a railroad bicycle and like coast this sucker for a few days. It'd be really cool to go through there and just kind of camp along the way and just coast from Eagle Mountain all the way down into the Indio Valley, and I don't know, end up in Palm Springs and party it up there. That'd be really fun. Email address, what a great name that is. There's something special about how Meromictic lakes form. Let's look at one, shall we? We're gonna Control C, and we're doing the Friday night coordinates jumping in here. Where are we going? We're going to Meromictic lakes. Whip. Look at that big old donger. Yeah, it's the schlong right there, the beautiful beach. Green Lakes State Park. What do they got to say for themselves? Full article. Park located east of Syracuse, the town of Manalis. The park is strikingly scenic. It has a masterpiece golf course designed by Robert Trent Jones very early in his career. Green Lake itself is perhaps the most studied meromictic lake, one which layers of water do not mix in the world. The park preserves the largest strand of old-growth forest in central New York, and around the lake has been designated national landmark. So, how do they not? They have different brackishness, different thermal levels. Layers of water do not mix in ordinary holomitic lakes. At least once each year, there is a physical mixing of the surface and the deep layers. The term meromictic is coined by the Austrian Ingo Findenegg in 1935, apparently based on the older word holomictic, and the concepts. Okay, so they normally sit separated, so at least spring and fall you get a churning. Okay, I've never really read about this before. So it might be salty, might be what? Yeah, hey, okay, you got saline. There we go, stratification because of salts. Ah, there you go. You'll get a lot of these in like Yucatan. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, gotta go back to Google. I gotta go. Oh, Josh Pet Pals, tell us about what happens with Lake Natron. Oh, Lake Natron's gnarly. Let's go. Lake Natron's in Zaire? Lake Natron, Congo? Where is Lake Natron? It's somewhere along the Rift Valley, isn't it? Yes. Here we go. So we are... Is that Victoria to my left? Tanzania. All right. So Lake Natron is along the Rift Valley. So it's a lake along the Rift floor. So this is basically the groundwater level where the earth is splitting apart and the groundwater is appearing there. So it's sort of like the Cooley Lakes in that way in Washington. But Lake Natron's in this valley, and it is a soda spring. So all this water is coming up rich with carbon, and it fills up this lake. And eventually there's so much carbon that it does this giant nucleation. It's like opening a can of Coca-Cola and goes and it spews out all this nucleated CO2, and it fills the entire valley. And so there were villages up and down the valley where everyone just died, just fell asleep where they were standing because all the oxygen got displaced by all of this CO2 and just killed everybody. It's pretty gnarly. It's 1970s when this happened last, I believe. I'm not sure what, maybe it was an earthquake or something that jiggled the lake enough and all this carbon got released. And if you were in this valley, there was no escape. You died. You just did not survive because every single bit of oxygen was displaced by the CO2 and filled up any breathable space. And so entire villages just fell asleep and never woke up. It was pretty horrific for those who came across it. And it took them a while to figure it out. But in the hillsides, there's lots of natural soda springs where they're just constantly fuzzing and buzzing as they spill down the stream. All the CO2 is coming out. But inside the lake itself, because it's a groundwater level lake, it's just naturally full of all the CO2. And that CO2 is the result of, you can see, like we got little volcanoes here. There's a volcano right there. There's an ancient volcano here. This is the rift zone, and the earth is splitting apart right here. So you have dozens and dozens and dozens of volcanoes and lots of outgassing that happens from those volcanoes. This is probably one of the most dangerous places in the world to own property. Because, if your CO2 alarm goes off in your house, you may have like 30 seconds to throw on a mask and breathe some oxygen before you're dead. And people who here can't afford CO2 alarms and don't have oxygen apparatuses they can use to breathe. So yeah, Lake Natron is gnarly, absolutely gnarly. Wasn't there there's something like a Wikipedia thing about the death of everybody in... Yeah. Yeah. So there's Lake Natron. I think that's how you pronounce it. But not a happy place to have a house. Big Houston. Okay, I love this. I love these buttons. I want to be able to thank I thank them on Amazon, but I want to be able to thank them like, thank you so much for giving me this Stream Deck thing. It is really cool. and I never knew this existed. And now my life is so much easier. I can just go boop, 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 and everything's right there. And it's wonderful. And I love it. Okay. Whoa, buddy, what's up? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do, monks? Something off in the distance? Get those hackles up. Dr. Combs for bass. Or bass. Combs for bass? Bass, bass, bass. Bass, bass. Houston, I'm metal detecting in the South Sound tomorrow. Any suggestions on locations I might find old coins? Oh, goodness. Back to scene. Let's zoom out. Let's go to the South Sound. Well, like everywhere along Puget Sound, there's lots of old places where mills used to exist. And mill towns. And those are probably really good places to go. Metal detecting for artifacts. Going to former mill towns is probably a great place for artifacts. I'm not too keen, not too clear on where the old mills are in this area. Like I'm more familiar with Bainbridge and Port Gamble, because that's my stomping grounds. But I would look at the heads of bays. Lots of the mills were at the heads of bays, because they could fill the whole bay, all the bays up with flumes of logs, and then work them from there. So like on Bainbridge, you can look in Blakely Harbor here, and so this is the harbor, and then this was the mill pond on this side. So this picture's taken during low tide. So they would load the harbor up with logs, fit them through here, and then have them held in the mill pond while they would get ready to be ground to a halt. Or ground up and turned into pulp, or sawed up into lumber. And then there's a village on the hillsides of what was the giant mill that was here, and called Yama, which is an old Japanese village. And they've got people and archaeologists in there finding all sorts of cool stuff that was left behind by the Japanese, who essentially got ripped from their homes in World War II and sent to internment camps, and everything got abandoned and just grown over, so it's now forest now. And then on the north end of Bainbridge, there was another mill in Port Madison. This is Port Madison here, and then the mill pond was this end of Port Madison. And the mill was really far away. The town of Port Madison was here, but the mill was down on this end. And lots of stuff you can find, if you're allowed to have beach access. There are lots of weird things, like on this part of the island, there used to be a giant pier that was an amusement park and a resort. And that was until the early 1900s. And Joe Gans, the first African-American heavyweight boxer, in his fight before he became the world champion, did a fight in that resort that was there in like 1906. Joe Gans is pretty amazing if you read up on him. I talked about him before because his world championship fight was in what is now the ghost town of Goldfield, Nevada. And it went like 42 rounds. What? 42 3-minute rounds. This is forever. Anyway, your end, South Sound, like the only current mill I know of that still exists is Shelton, right? So out here in Shelton, there's a pulp mill here. So this is their mill pond where they would store everything. Now everything comes on like trucks and trains and whatnot. But I don't know. I would look up where the old mills were. I bet there was one probably at the head of every bay along here. Olympia's got its shipping stuff here now, but I wouldn't doubt if they had all sorts of mills, and to look along the beaches in these spots. That'd be my suggestion. Nisqually's reservation. I don't think they had a mill pond in the reservation, so I wouldn't really look there. Plus, lots of birds and stuff to look at, so just look at birds or something when you're in Nisqually. And yeah, those are my suggestions. Look up old mills. Also, get yourself a ghost town book. It will tell you where a lot of the old logging camps were in the old mills. For Washington, let's see here. Washington, page 777. We've got Baker's Bay, Claquato, Northport, Skamokawa, several of them that, let's see here. Let's do, I think Claquato is one. Yeah, Claquato is a timber town. They are, where are they? Oh, it's on the Chehalis River, so it's a mill town that was on the Chehalis River. So there's, yeah, look for mill towns. That would be what I would suggest. There you go. Oh, super chat from SJ. Just send a super chat. Thank you, SJ. If you have weird spots in the world you want me to go to, let's go to them. It's Friday night. I got, holy crap. Well, we can do a little bit longer. I'm at be 2 hours here in 10 minutes or so, but I got a little more gas in me. Let's go another 20 or 30 minutes. And then I have to make myself dinner. First dinner, as it were. Okay. Darren M. I'm from Houston and live in Bonnie Lake. I figured you're in Texas. Nope, just my name. I had no idea about all these places around here, but assumed there are so many hidden treasures. There's lots of them. There's crazy stuff. Where's that baseball book? Crap. Might be the other room. Give me 25 seconds. I'm going to search for a book. 1 sec. Is it, monkey? Did I put it back on the shelf? I don't remember putting it back on the shelf. No. What'd I do with it, monkey? What'd I do with it? Where'd it go? Did I put it on the other room bookshelf? System than this monkey. Of course, the book I'm trying to find I can't find to save my life. Where is it, dude? What'd I do with it? There's a book. And the name of the person the book is about is totally escaping me. So I don't even have the ability to tell you more about it. It's about the first black man to play professional baseball. And it's not Jackie Robinson. It's a guy from Clay Elum, Roslyn area in Washington. And he managed to pass as a Native American. I think his mom was white and his dad was black. And he was part of a coal mining family in Roslyn. Let's go here. Roslyn, Washington. So Roslyn is where they filmed that TV show Northern Exposure. Pretend like it was Alaska. It's an old coal mining town. And so when Roslyn was formed, there's all these coal mines and everything in town. And about half of the coal miners were black, African American. And there was a huge African American population post-Civil War that was in a lot of these mining towns all over the West. Just loads of them. And, there were strikes, the mines were shut down, the mines would open up, whatever. And most of the African Americans were brought in as essentially scabs against striking miners. The miners would strike and they would hire a bunch of cheaper African American labor. And so there's lots of, racial strife and all sorts of stuff that happened with these folks. But when the mines started shutting down, most of them ended up moving into urban areas. So, what's the guy's name? It's totally escaping me, and it's just pissing me off. But in the book, they talk about all these little towns all over the Northwest that had these Negro League baseball teams, and essentially professional baseball teams or semi-professional baseball teams. And in the Northwest, a lot of the baseball teams honestly didn't care what your race was. They let you play on your team as long as you're good enough. And so in the early 1900s, this guy managed to get through the ranks and got signed to play for the Pacific Coast League and played for a couple of teams in the San Francisco Bay Area after bouncing around. And he was able to play for these teams in the Bay Area because he lied and said he was Native American. They're like, all right, well, at least you're not black. And so let him play until one of the racist white guys he played with in the Northwest was in the Pacific Coast League. He was like, no, that guy's black. And then they kicked him out. And that was, he may have been able to become the first major leaguer had they not done that and called him out on his lie that protected his baseball career for a long time. So he came back to the Northwest and played there. But a lot of the miners that were in Roslyn and Cle Elum and Ronald, they ended up working in the ports in Tacoma. So that's where a lot of the African Americans that were in the mining communities in Washington ended up. Now, wow, where's that stupid book? It's not the most exciting read in the world, but I learned more about the racial demographics in the Northwest prior to World War I than I ever knew. I didn't know about this. I didn't know about it at all, and I thought it was amazing. And where's that stupid book? And it's just pissing me off. I'm going to do a deep clean. I'm going to find it. I'm going to go, this is the book about the guy whose name I can't remember. Yeah. I bet I can do a search right now, at least get his name, and then I will... Johnny Ritchie. Dang it. Thank you. John Franklin Ritchie. No, not John Franklin Ritchie. Older than that. Older. No. Yeah, older than that. No. Jimmy Claxton. That's who it was. Jimmy Claxton. So he was born 1892 in Wellington, British Columbia. And he died March 3rd, 1970 in Tacoma, Washington. This is the guy. Oh, let me go there. Turn off. Whoops. Come on, there. Turn off that. Turn on that. Buttons. They're amazing. Okay. So Jimmy Claxton. He even has a Pacific Coast League baseball card. Yeah. He played for Pollock's Cuban Stars for the Negro Leagues. Pacific Coast League. He played for Oakland, I believe. Definitely multiracial. So Roslyn, Washington, played for the all-black team in Oakland and managed to get on the Oakland Oaks of the Pacific Coast League. So back then, the Pacific Coast League and the Major League were kind of, very on par. Yeah. Yeah, so, good stories. Things to learn out there. Get your history on. Jimmy Claxton. It's been a couple of years since I read that book. So, forgive me if my brain can't remember all everyone's names. Okay, did I miss anything? Did I miss Super Chats? No, we got it. There we go. Okay. Now I'm an hour behind in the chat because I got off into a lot of tangents here. That's what happens. The tangents are what kills me. Houston, where does all the matter go when it gets pulled into a black hole? It gets compressed on itself. That's all we know. It all occupies the same space as far as we know. that essentially you're just taking, like, the amount of vacuum inside of an atom is absolutely insane. So theoretically, you can take some frozen peas, right? Take some frozen peas, chill the peas down to absolute zero. So the more energy an atom has, the more it bounces around and vibrates, right? So if you've got a solid, you got yourself an ice cube, the atoms are moving inside the ice cube. They are vibrating a little bit, just kind of humming along. And if you warm them up enough, they move so much they turn into a liquid. And if you warm them up even more, they move so much they bounce and turn themselves into a vapor. Well, you can suck the heat out of them and cool them down to within a fraction of a degree of absolute zero. Perhaps, maybe if the technology is right, maybe we can get it to absolute zero. And at that point, they stop vibrating. And if they stop vibrating, the electrons just give up. And there's no longer any force, negative force keeping electrons from touching other electrons. And so theoretically, you could take a frozen pea and put another frozen pea inside of it, another frozen pea inside of that, another frozen pea inside of that, another frozen pea. You can do this. You can put millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of frozen peas inside of each other at absolute zero. And you can make this one pea weigh an infinite amount of weight if you wanted to. I mean, it's theoretical, because I don't know how you're going to grab that frozen pea if your tongs are going to pass right through the atoms. They're just going to pass right through each other. But you can make yourself a pea bomb. That sounds kind of weird. Make yourself a pea bomb. It's like a trucker bomb. And you take your millions of peas that are now set inside of each other, absolute zero, and you warm them up. And all those electrons go, ugh, and it goes, poof. You can take out an entire city with a frozen pea bomb. So there you go. Yeah. So frozen pea bomb yourself. Black holes are kind of the same way, except rather than like waiting for them to shake down to nothing and occupying the same space, you basically just force them into it. Gravitational pressure is so strong they're like, I must accept to be like all this other matter coming in and taking up the space of my atoms. Okay. Sub has the boss. One of the YouTubers called Houston the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. It's not Hawaiian today, man. You're wrong. It's pointillism or needlepoint, or I don't know what the heck you call this design. It's little tiny little flowers is what it is. Ben Sun says the government made a deal with China General Nuclear Power Corporation and gave them the contract. That seems like a terrible idea. Type of stuff that you want to, national security reasons, you probably want to keep in-house. But, so that's Ben Sun, who's in the UK, near Somerset. Chinese are building a nuclear power plant. Alex A., if someone travels across the galaxy to see us, odds are they can kick our ass. That's true. But, again, if you are an outside observer, you're an alien who comes to our Earth, and you're like, all right, look at these creatures, and you watch us just beat the shit out of each other constantly. We're constantly warring with each other, constantly committing crimes against each other. They might be like, wow, if they're willing to do this to each other, what the hell are they going to do to us? So, we're kind of that scary wild card that Charlie might be. Wild card! You don't want to mess with the wild card. You don't know what's going to come out of the end of it. Enough of us, and we should start a meetup happy hour. That's a good idea, Daphne. I'm all for that. Okay. Beverly S. Houston, my son says to me to tell you to, my son says to tell you to be careful with those straws. Some people have tripped while drinking with the glass or metal straws and lobotomized themselves, like really gotten killed. Yeah, I am not going to walk around drinking out of one of these things. No, it will come with me from one point to another and rest. I did not want to drive one of these into my skull. That would suck. Drive with Valerian. I'm very bullish on GME. What do you see as a reasonable worst case scenario for GME bulls over the next 12 months? A worst case is just that they're able to draw it out and keep drawing it out. But then again, the only way they can draw this out as long as possible is by continuing to naked short sell. And if they continue to naked short sell, they just create more liability for themselves, which would make it even worse in the end. At some point, the government is going to have to say no more naked short selling, because they're going to see these ledgers and go, "Oh my God, what did they create? Like, what kind of trouble did they get into because we allowed them to do this?" They're going to have to put a stop to it. The buy and hold strategy has absolutely defeated their ability to get away with this naked short selling. They can't do it anymore. So the worst case scenario is that they draw it out. I don't see it getting shorted down to zero ever again. I just don't think it's going to happen. Oh man, Adam Watkins gave me another one here. Ghost house. Go to street level, street view. Is this ghost house the threshold of hell? Oh my. Scene. Chrome. Google Earth. Okay, let's go. Let's go, Adam. Let's go right there. Got to delete that part so that it will read. Boink, boink, boink. Where are we going? Going to California? We're going along the coast here. Where am I? Where am I? Going down to Street View. That looks like a nice mansion right there. Come on, give me a Street View. Woo! Okay, I'm in Baja? Whoa! Look at this place. Goodness gracious, this is awesome. They do have security cameras set up, so watch out there. We got a dungeon, but it's like more like a gate. That's a gate. And we got ourselves a goat girl. I have to visit this place. What else we got here? Got a whole bunch of heads. Got some great stained glass. Oh, there's like a... Is that Rasputin? Is that Dracul? Who is that? Might be... I got some sort of red devil guy up there. This place is awesome. Where am I? Am I in Baja? Might be in Baja. I got some campers there. There's a gate to the secret garden. There's your garbage. See, even if you are an absolute degenerate metalhead, you still need a little cubby for your weekly garbage pickup. So, that's a reality. Everybody poops. Everybody produces garbage, and you should also recycle. This place is rad. We got some coffins in there. I bet this guy's probably like the nicest human being in the entire world. Or lady. Probably a total sweetheart. Help you with the groceries. And, just listen to Cannibal Corpse really loud or something. Got some floodlights set up on their palm trees. That's a cool place. All right, I want to exit Street View. I want to see where I am. I think I gotta be in Baja, right? Yeah, that's where we be. Tijuana. Yeah, there's Tijuana. Dude, I've driven right past there. I never knew that existed because I was on the highway. Well, now I know. Now I know, Adam. And thank you for letting me know that that's where I want to visit. Probably got some weird metalhead. My guess is next to some like cartel god who lives right there. And the cartel guy's like, "Don't mess with the metalhead guy. I don't know what's going on with that dude." Crazy. All right. Cool. Cool drool. Cool drool. I love it. I love it. All right. Let's do 10 more minutes, and then I got to go get myself first dinner for the evening. Of course, chat reset again, you jerkwad. Don't reset. Don't reset. All right, did I get everybody's? First of all, I think I got those. All right, cool. All right, we got 10 minutes left. I'm going to jump down the chats here, try to get some more timely sections. Nick Goad, uranium squeeze. Yeah, uranium is definitely going to squeeze. They have, I would think there's probably a cabal that should be broken up that's right now controlling the price of uranium, and the price had plummeted, and now it's been consolidated and being held. So I wouldn't doubt the price of uranium goes up. probably be a good time to open up my uranium claim to investors, and I haven't got around to that. I've got a uranium claim in northern Nevada that I think can produce a significant amount of uranium. Oh, Big Houston. There we go. Chronicles of Dan and Paulina. 5-year-old gets 13-ounce geological hammer for Christmas next week. Dad has never been rock hounding. Any advice for us in South Carolina, Piedmont? Ooh. That is the zone I'm so unfamiliar with. If you're going to go rock hounding, you're going to want to head towards the Appalachians. I know that. So that's definitely where you want to go. But as far as like gems and gold in South Carolina, I am so unfamiliar. A lot of it is privately owned land, so it's really hard. You have to go get permission if you want to do any rock hounding on that stuff. Might be a couple cool like quartz quarries where you might pay $10 for a day to go smash rocks and stuff. I have those up and down the East Coast because all of it's so privately owned. That would be my suggestion. I would look on mindat.org. So if we go boink, 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 and mindat.org, South Carolina. Boom, boom, boom. Come on. Go. Go, man. Go. Go to a page. Do it. Do it. Do it. No, okay. There we go. South Carolina. So anywhere that there's been minerals found, you can find on mindat.org by searching for the name of a location. It will show you. So they got in this region, there's 204 different minerals found. This region is 289. Down the coast, you'll have less options for these. It might be fossils and stuff that you find in these regions. But you can find amethyst. You can find all sorts of things. Come on. Let me use my page. So lots of stuff. So let's click in the place where there's 289 minerals. Whoa, look at all these spots. So there might be active mines, as well as mineral locations. So like this, what's this one? This is a place you can get amethyst in Johnsonville, Union, South Carolina. Up here you can get Parker Mine, Parker number 2 mine, York County. Does not tell me what's in it, but let's see here. There's a gold mine. There you go. So there's some gold mines to be had in South Carolina. This is oh shit! I just clicked the Mindat page. Dang it! Mindat, South Carolina, South Carolina. Go. Open a new tab. Give it to me. Give it to me, Mindat. Give it to me. Go. There we go. So we're back. We're going to click on this guy. There's 12 different mines here. This one, Placer, that's probably a gold mine. Waltrip, that was... Ooh, iron, thorium, and titanium. So we got all sorts of weird things, different heavy metals that were coming out of there. Go back. Oh, this page is slow. But let's see here. This one's got 95 locations. What was this one? Little Mountain kyanite occurrence. So kyanite is a very rare stone. That's one that's in South Carolina. Kyanite. That's what totally escaped me. This is one of the rare gemstones on Earth, is kyanite. So I recommend, if you're going to look for stuff, that's a good one to look for. So Newberry County is where that is. Some of them will list that's just coordinates for mine. James Prospect, Newberry Quarry stones. That's just gonna be rocks. But Mindat's really cool for this stuff. If you want like a more personal way of finding things for them to go smash, you might be able to find like a gem trails of South Carolina books. Like they do one for almost every state, like Gem Trails of Utah, or you got Falcon guides. So rock hounding guides that are specific to each state. These are good ways to do those. All the ones I have are for states like the Rockies and West. because that's where I do all my work. So that's where all my books are. That's a great way to go find stuff and to give you an idea of how to look for things as well. So yeah. Okay. Driver Valerian, can you talk a little bit about your time in Austria? Highlights, lowlights? Thanks. Well, I mean, the highlights was getting paid to go live in Austria and play baseball. that was the highlight. I had a great time. The competition was weird. It would vary from like playing a bunch of ex-major leaguer and minor leaguers and getting just dominated to playing people that picked up baseball a couple years ago, and it was like playing grown toddlers who like threw like that, and it was wild because you'd play a tournament and it'd be like a Division 3 team, which a Division 3 team in Europe is people that like are just learning the game, and you might have Division 2, and Division 2 are people that know how to play the game, but they aren't just. The difference between the divisions is very, very clear. Like a Division 2 team is going to murder a Division 3 team. A Division 1 team is going to murder a Division 2 team. So a Division 1 team plays a Division 3 team, they get 10 runned. We play mercy rule in Europe. So if you're up by 10 runs or more by the 5th inning, the game is over. Just done. And we mercy ruled every single Division 3 and Division 2 team we faced. And then my low light was when my elbow exploded while we were in Bolzano, Italy. And that sucked. That hurt a lot. And I knew pretty soon I was like, this might be it for my baseball career. My arm doesn't work very well, and it's in a lot of pain. And, and that was against a Division 3 team. I was almost 4 innings into a no-hitter, and when it popped, and I was screaming. I was screaming that ball. And they don't know what to do with elbow injuries in Europe, so they send you back to America. But the team went on to win the Austrian National Championship, and they won the Eiffel Cup, which is sort of like a club team championship for Central Europe. I didn't get a chance to play Division 1 Italian teams. Those are... If you're playing in the Netherlands against Division 1 teams or in Italy against Division 1 teams, the equivalent competition is like playing professional leagues in Japan. They are really good. The Rimini Pirates in Italy are sort of like the Yankees of Italy, and they have a 40,000 seat stadium. They sell out. They've got major leaguers, guys from Japan, guys from Dominican Republic, Venezuela. They're on those teams, and they're really, really good. In the Netherlands, they have more professional baseball teams in the Netherlands than the United States has, and people don't realize that. These are some big Dutch dudes playing a lot of baseball in the Netherlands, and there's some really, really good teams. And Major League has been doing a good job fostering the development of these leagues. And you can see it in the World Baseball Classic that happens every few years. Is all of a sudden, you've got some 16-year-old kid from South Africa that's throwing 92 miles an hour, and the major leaguers are like, whoa, sign this kid to a contract. Because it's a way for a lot of these scouts to finally see what type of talent has been developed in these outside weird leagues. In Europe, they've got a history of professional, semi-professional leagues, this division system. So the winning top team of Division 2 moves to Division 1. The losingest team in Division 1 moves to Division 2. And so what you'll have in football leagues, basketball leagues, and whatnot is a constant turnover of talent as a result. So if you're paying money for some really good talent in a Division 1 team and they lose the league lose the league and they move down to Division 2, there'll be a sell-off. And that Division 2 team that moves up may gather a whole bunch of quality players from that failing Division 1 team and build on the success that they have. So it happens a lot in soccer. You'll see like someone moving out of the Champions League or whatever into a lower league, and sell-offs happen. And yeah, so I would love if the United States had some sort of system like that. I think it'd be beautiful if like the top minor league team became a major league team, and then the crappiest major league team all of a sudden was like down Division 2 or something. They'd be rad. Can you imagine like, some team from, I don't know, Dubuque, Iowa wins the Division 2. All of a sudden they're competing with the Yankees the next season. And then, I don't know, the Baltimore Orioles lose their league and become the worst team in all the major leagues, and all of a sudden they're like a Division II minor league team. You got to sell off all their talent, and I think it'd be rad. It'd be absolutely terrifying to be the owner of some of those teams at this point. But yes. Start shopping, 59. I walked across the state of South Carolina to raise awareness of addiction and recovery resources, tn.org. Good job. Start shopping, 59. Awesome. Good for you. I like to walk long distances, but never done it like successively across a state or anything. Kudos. Tip of my hat. Wave of my hand. I appreciate that. Good job. Okay. All right. I think we're at the end of our day here. If I missed your chats, I am sorry. I'll try to get to them Monday. So pop back on Monday. Give us jumping your brains. I'm hoping some weird stuff happens on Monday. We got a lot to talk about. Yeah. Oh, Abel, if I find dinosaur bones while going for a hike, is it finders keepers or does it belong to the government? The Antiquities Act around that stuff is very interesting. It depends, I think, upon where you find it, if it's on private land or not. You can certainly take it and have it analyzed. Be like, hey, I found something weird. Everyone, analyze this. But you may have to get, I think for dinosaur bones, you've got to get like a permit to excavate them. So I would once you found one and you bring it to a professor or something to analyze it, you would probably work with that professor to then do permits and excavation and whatnot after that. I think that's the way it has to go. The paleontology is not my side. I'm going to have to ask my friend Eric about that because he deals with fossils on that level. But that's what I believe how it works. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to get myself some dinner. Monkey butt. Hey, monkey butt. Monkey butt. Wait, want to say goodbye to everybody? Come here. Come on. Say goodbye. Come on. You can do it. Come on, get up here. All the way, you sleepy dog. All the way. Stretch it out. Yes. Oh, we're going to say goodbye, aren't we?